It's Corona time.
COVID-19, COVID-19, COVID-19,
COVID-19,
yes. COVID-19, COVID-19,
Coronavirus.
Vaccine. Number one way.
Okay, so floating around in all sorts of ways and places is some headlines, and they read something like this. This is not, of course, in the mainstream legacy news media, but there are some things to be addressed here, because I'm sure lots of people are seeing murmurings of this or reading articles. JustTheNews.com has a headline: former EcoHealth Alliance vice president says Fauci-funded group developed COVID-19. Now, none of this is new. Okay, we're all aware of the storyline that continues to develop in the mainstream, or find its way to the mainstream as time goes on and more information is found, specifically, regarding the Wuhan lab leak, the Wuhan lab theory. And we all
know what you are talking about.
Right. We all lived through this, and we are aware of EcoHealth Alliance and Fauci signing the checks to fund EcoHealth Alliance with it, which in turn funded the Wuhan lab. So we're all aware of the theory, which is gaining more and more sort of mainstream, if not support, at least not burning people at the stake for mentioning it. But there's this new thing, this new aspect. And it's, again, I say new, this whole storyline started in about January of 2022, but there's a big update. So just for a quick little idea, it says here, a former vice president for the EcoHealth Alliance, a major funder of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, claims that his organization, quote, developed SARS-CoV-2 through gain-of-function research that makes viruses more dangerous. Here's a quote. The process of developing SARS-CoV-2 was also described in detail in the proposal submitted to and ultimately funded by the National Institutes of Health, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, by EcoHealth Alliance with the WIV, that's Wuhan Institute of Virology, and University of North Carolina listed as collaborators, according to the sworn declaration of Andrew Huff, who is represented by the attorney Thomas Renz. And that is sort of the update, is this sworn declaration of this fella, Andrew Huff. Now, I have his Twitter thing here, which has kind of a strange number of followers gone. So I just want to make note of this real quick. Will you open up his Twitter account and tell us how many followers he has?
He's following 198 and he has 33K followers. Oops. No, wrong button. These buttons are too close together. 33K.
Yeah, 33,000 followers on his Twitter. Okay, interesting. Just interesting.
He joined in October 2021. His account isn't even a year old.
Not even a year old.
Ooh, he's got a Truth Social account and a Rumble and a Getter.
Of course he does. And so his bio says on Twitter, former EcoHealth Alliance VP and whistleblower, Army combat veteran, scientist. And then he's got his Truth Social, his Rumble, his Getter. So you can really tell kind of where he's at, what side he's on, what he's going for. You can see his first tweet here. He says, below is the link to a copy of the report about the real origin of SARS-CoV-2 sent to the U.S. Senate and Congress last week. My declaration in the document was provided under oath with penalty of perjury. And you can take a look at the document. There it is. And it's exactly what he's saying it is. And it follows sort of suspiciously along the lines of what we've all sort of been talking about for a couple of years, as far as the relationship between Fauci, the EcoHealth Alliance, and the Wuhan Institute of Virology. However, it's interesting how he didn't make his Twitter account until like 2 years into talking into that theory developing. Now, he also wrote a book, which I put the link there to his book. And his book
They all
is
got
called
books.
They all got books. The Truth About Wuhan. Wuhan is what it's called. How I Uncovered the Biggest Lie in History. Ooh, how he uncovered the biggest lie in history. And just to read a little bit about the book, it says about the book. Okay.
Is this the cover, before you read it, is this the cover of the book? This red and just the text?
Yeah.
Because he needs to do better.
Well, it's
maybe the red is just
you're missing the
signaling
point
to
guys.
Republicans, like, hey, I'm one of you.
Thank you. You're missing the point because it is very almost exactly Trump hat red with white Trump hat font on top of it.
There you go.
Dr. Andrew G. Huff. It's not an accident. Shocking new insider information that shows what really happened in Wuhan, China at the start of the COVID-19 outbreak and the ensuing cover-up. The day that Dr. Andrew G. Huff left his senior scientist and vice president role at EcoHealth Alliance was one of the happiest days of his life due to the corruption he had witnessed at the organization.
Wow.
However, he thought working there would be he never thought working there would be of any great consequence to the future. I don't believe him. I don't believe him that working at EcoHealth Alliance, he didn't think that it would be of any great consequence. You don't go into EcoHealth Alliance, health nonprofit funding structures, global money structures, not thinking that at least, if you're genuine, at least that you are going to help the world by funding advanced research or something. But okay, he was wrong because as an EcoHealth Alliance insider, Dr. Huff had a ringside seat to one of the biggest cover-ups in history. The Truth About Wuhan contains new research and a breakdown of why the development of COVID-19 in the United States and China was supported by the U.S. government to collect intelligence on laboratories in China. Dr. Huff, an expert in the fields of bioterrorism and biowarfare, is a whistleblower who will show why the reasons the lab leak was covered up are incorrect. The reasons it was covered up were incorrect. So you might think you know why there was a cover-up, but you're wrong. He's going to tell us. He worked on the classified research side of the program as a U.S. government scientist. The program. So the COVID-19 program. He worked on the classified research side of the program as a U.S. government scientist. He knows the real how and why COVID-19 emerged. Okay. Besides exposing the conspiracy and cover-up, Dr. Huff also puts forth policy solutions and recommendations to prevent lab leak virus from plaguing the world again.
Of course.
Any comments so far? Because there's more.
You know how I feel about this already. We kind of talked about it beforehand, but this is.
But it's not for me. Is there something you would like to say for the podcast before I move on?
What was that?
I said, I know you and I talked about it. I'm saying, is there something you would like to say for the podcast before I read this next part?
I have trouble hearing you sometimes coming through.
It is very strange why that is happening.
Well, yes. The obvious thing here is that this is a complete psyop. I mean, if you're going to talk about
Okay, hold on. You're jumping ahead.
Oh, okay, fine.
You can't just jump right into PSYOP, okay? We got to know why it's a PSYOP. So far, all he's done, I'm going to take down my noise cancellation, see if that opens up for you a little bit. I'm just going to turn it off. You might get a little hiss. If the hiss is too bad, I can turn it back on.
It's okay. I could deal with the hiss.
Okay. Hopefully that makes it so I don't disappear as much. The Truth About Wuhan simply explains the complexity of the system. the system that led to COVID-19's emergence, how the medical industrial complex grew and became entrenched in gain-of-function work after 9/11, why EcoHealth Alliance was the almost perfect intelligence collection cover, the policy actions, decision-making process as to why the United States government engaged in the COVID cover-up, how and why the United States swapped biotechnology with China and biomedical corporations, and the incentives for each of the actors or governments to engage and coordinate a global cover-up of COVID-19's origins.
Okay, so we have the guy that did it saying he's a whistleblower, which I think is funny that it's in his description, like, yes, I'm now paid to be a whistleblower.
Oh, this is brand. His brand is an insider and whistleblower, while the insider, the association of which he was a vice president or claims to be, EcoHealth Alliance, he claims was a CIA operation.
Yeah, so
how are you the vice president?
Yeah, how are you writing
of
a book?
EcoHealth Alliance and you're not fully integrated into the CIA operation? Now, before we go into it fully,
we're not into it fully yet.
We're not even fully there. There's more stuff here.
I know.
ResearchGate.net. We looked him up here. He is a fairly well-published guy. He's published papers mostly in 2016 and 2017, just so you can see a couple of the things that he's interested in publishing about. This is in August of 2017. He published a paper or an article, Biosurveillance, a systematic review of global infectious disease surveillance systems from 1900 to 2016.
116 years of biosurveillance. Why would that interest you, A.G. Huff?
There's more. Flirt, a web application to predict the movement of infected travelers, validated against current Zika virus epidemic. 2016, he wrote that. 20.142, evaluation of ProMed Mail global surveillance capability.
Evaluate surveillance.
He loves surveillance. September 2016, evaluation and verification of the global rapid identification of threats system for infectious diseases. Contextual data sources. Flirting with Zika, a web application to predict the movement of infected travelers. Mantle, a free and multilingual software for One Health biosurveillance and research. And then he did another one about that. Open source platform with One biosurveillance research. Supplementary material. He's pretty much exclusively written about biosurveillance, tracking sick people, software for, tracking the movements, predicting the movements of infected travelers for years. This is his focus. Now, strangely enough, all of these things, and there's more, and they're all related to the same thing, all came out in late 2016 and 2017. So one little spurt of obsessively creating, content, articles, scientific
it's a seed
papers
planted for a future operation, which is exactly why that initial thing about the not being thinking about the future is sort of a nonsensical thing to say.
Right. And you are able to kind of track, when you do a newsletter, Gons, our newsletters are like this, actually. Our new, when you do a newsletter, you send out a newsletter, it can live online. Right. And so people can access it through a URL instead of just their email. So I found this one. It was it's a constant contact.
Oh gosh.
Newsletter.
2006 best emailer.
Yeah, sent out by EcoHealth Alliance. They're using constant contact. Yeah. And down at the bottom there, it talks about all the kind of the stuff predicting outbreaks, sharing and predicting the global community, blah, blah, blah. This is their whole thing. And it does say right here, get to know our scientists. There's a section. And right here, Andrew Huff, PhD, Associate Vice President. So indeed, it seems as if he actually was the Associate Vice President of EcoHealth Alliance. And you can read all about him right here. And it's all about pandemics and tracking and stuff like that.
So is this a genuine whistleblower, or is this just a part of the...
Isn't that a great question, Gons? This guy claims EcoHealth Alliance is a CIA operation and that the intelligence agencies were all part of it, and it goes deeper than just Fauci making money. It's this deep, meandering thing. His book is designed in the style of a Trump hat. He was the vice president of a nonprofit he claims was a CIA operation, and somehow is not expecting us to think that he is also part of the CIA operation.
Yeah, he's telling us that he was part of it. So what has changed? Other than a new Twitter profile, maybe.
What makes everything that he's doing right now not part of the CIA psychological operation? You're just sort of meant to assume that
he's a whistleblower.
Suddenly now what he's doing now is not part of the CIA
he's draining the swamp. Basil, how dare you question this man's integrity?
His Twitter account that started 3 months before he published his book. He was never on Twitter. And that's part of the problem. I'll tell you this. I listen to a lot of spy podcasts. I'm very interested in the spying stuff. Mm-hmm. And one thing I learned on how to spot a spy, and this is how actual, spy hunters spot spies. You look at their social media. This is why this is part of the reason why CIA had that big push to recruit younger millennials and Gen Zs. They wanted young people in there. Why? Mostly because young people have fully fleshed out social media profiles, and they're old. Everybody our age has had their Facebook profile for 15, 20 years and is fully fleshed out, because when you're overseas or you're doing some sort of mission, somebody sees you, the first thing they do is they check your social media to see if you're legit. And one of the key things is if the social media profile is brand spanking new, it means that person is probably a spy and probably created their social media profile and platform to convince you that there's something that they're not. So his Twitter coming out 2 months before he publicly came out and started blowing the whistle, as it were. Very suspicious. 33,000 followers. Okay, cool. Suspicious. Why don't we hit that's suspicious jingle while we're at it?
Well, we're suspicious for sure. Personally, I don't think it's suspicious at all. I think it is a psyop.
Psyops.
I'll just say it straight up.
It's just straight up. I mean, that's kind of the key here. In case somebody was trying to kick us off of YouTube, I think this guy is full on psyops. I would not trust his book. I would not trust. Look, it's annoying because certainly there's people out there who said I've been following this guy for 6 months and he's totally legit. He's against Fauci. He wants to take down the blah, 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 blah. It's obvious that this is controlled opposition from some intelligence agency.
Sure. Well, let me trigger you some more because
real quick.
Yeah.
One last thing.
Okay.
The fact that his entire whistleblowing message is the exact storyline that people put together without the whistleblower. Though his whole story had been put together before he blew the whistle. It is straight across the board exactly what people looking into it had found for the first 2 years of the pandemic.
Look at this. This is on that constant contact email. And
the only thing, just real quick, the only thing he changes is the reasons. He's saying, yeah, we all know what happened because we can. It's proven. It's documented. We know what happened with EcoHealth Alliance. But what his whole whistleblowing is, no, but you've got the reasons wrong. Why? Why is that your thing? Okay, what do you got?
Okay, so in this constant contact email, there's a sentence here in his bio section. After completing his PhD, Dr. Huff transitioned to Sandia National Laboratories as a senior member of the technical staff, where he worked on interdisciplinary teams to develop novel methods of biosurveillance, to build public health capacity for foreign governments, and to model the effects of pandemics on interdependent infrastructure systems, example, food, water, energy. I think they're trying to get this guy basically into some kind of political office, and he's not going to do it through the hated side right now. So he's got to do it through the Republican side. I think is why he's doing the whistleblower thing. Because he could be the guy that's like, hey, I was there. I studied all this stuff. I can fix the post-pandemic issue and do it under the condition of, hey, we're going to fix stuff because I was part of I was part of the problem. Now I want to be part of the solution.
Yeah, I could see that.